Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing okay. What we've come up with today is an introduction to Google Colaboratory. This is fairly simple to access. We go to this webpage colab.google, and that lands us to this page. And from here on, it's fairly simple. We click on Open Colab, and that opens up the interface for this platform. There are a bunch of things here. You could go to examples, look at different notebooks, recent, and then there's Google Drive, GitHub, and there's an option to upload as well. What we want to do today is head to this blue uh, button which says New Notebook. This opens up a new notebook, and irrespective of where you are in Colab, you could always go to File and choose the new notebook to get this kind of an interface that I've got. Okay, a few important things before we begin and talk more about this. Why choose Google Colab? And that is because of the free computational resources that we have. Notice that in runtime, we can change the runtime type to choose graphical processing units or tensor processing units instead of the normal CPU. But since these are free, this is the core reason why we head over to Google Colab to make use of these free computational resources. For our purposes, CPU is sufficient as of now. All right. This requires a Google account and a sign into Google account as well. We see a connect button. This would connect us to a runtime where we're going to be doing all our processing. If we disconnect our runtime, we lose the processing and the information stored in different variables when we do our programming. Okay, so it's important that whatever we do, we wrap it up in one runtime. Now, towards our left hand side, we see a panel which has a bunch of options. It says table of contents, there's a find and replace option, variables, there's secrets, but then the most important one that we're most often going to work with is this files icon. We click on this and we see further options, but the most relevant one is this upload to session storage option, where we can always click this to upload files that would then show us here. Also, it's fairly nice to look up some other things related to the editor, right? We see this entire cell where we can type in our code, whatever that may be. For example, we could begin with something like print welcome, right? And to execute this code, there is this play button right here, which is actually going to run this cell and execute the Python code that we've just written. And it says print welcome because we went ahead with a print command. Whatever we type in gets printed. Here we've decided to type in a string specified by these inverted commas. It could have also been a variable, and then we would have seen the value stored in that variable. For example, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just define something like x and store 1 in x, and then we could always print what's stored in x, right? I'm using command and enter as a shortcut. On Windows, this would be a control and enter to print, to run the cell, right? To execute the cell. Or you could always click this play button, and that would tell you what is stored in x because we are printing this specific variable. We could always go to tools and settings and change perhaps the theme of our Google Colab. Another option which is typically very interesting and important, yes, there is font sizes and font types, but this is something that I prefer, which is showing line numbers, and that becomes in very handy, especially when we are debugging and trying to find the error in our code. Turning on line numbers shows up what line we have written our code in. Notice this does not bring in any space. This is still the starting point. There is no space, but these line numbers now automatically show up every time you write something.